because you are opening the door to something is not compliant to the Sharia, because you are, dia sama macam opening the back door to riba. Okay, because you try to buy people with something so that they can come to you and open an account. So that is not the in that sense there is a Sharia issues there. So it's not right. So when we say marketing, it will, I mean, that is the example of where in the process of part of it, like marketing team, they can make such non-compliant. Okay, and then control framework is not there, or you are the framework is absent. You don't know how to. There's no like certain SOP is not available. Itu boleh it can actually resulted to non-compliant. And then for under people also, you can see because of lacking of trainings, not enough trainings for new staff, or not enough knowledge, not enough experience, so they tend to make some mistakes when they do any transactions. Okay, communication, negligence, so those can relate to Sharia non-compliance. System, we are looking into the system design, the monitoring, the support, the external event. We are looking at the regulation, outsourcing, disease outbreak, war, extreme climate. So semua ni kita dah pernah sentuh in the previous class kan. Okay, nak lebih jelas lagi, you can see below there, we put sample of cases. Okay, we have case, for example, like process. Some of the cases is like the document execution checklist did not comprehensively cover different contract scenarios. Okay, remember again that in Islamic Bank, we have so many risks compared to conventional because we are using more and many more Sharia contract compared to conventional, right? So, tend to make mistakes tu memang very high. Okay, so that is why whenever we want to enter into a contract, nak berakad with our customer, everything must be in order and the document must be presented. And the steps are very clear steps. The process must be there, okay? And how to execute each process must be clear. So in that sense, it has to be specific checklist so that the staff or the officers will not miss any one of the steps. Because to ensure Sharia compliant, you cannot miss out one single step. It could cause you Sharia non-compliance. Maybe another example, because of the delay of income verification due to lack of procedures, tainted income being invested in the fund. Okay, this one, where did this income come from? Maksud kita kata purification must be done. Meaning bila the bank, when the customer, they pay their installment rates, okay, so, and the bank, they try to charge gharama more than 1%. Okay, so that one, if it's more than 1%, it has to channel the income to the charity. So they need to purify the income. Okay, how to purify is to channel it to the charity, which the Islamic bank cannot claim as their income. Okay, because it is non-Sharia compliant. Because charging gharama is no, but in a way that is some punishment for the customer so that they can actually in the future pay on time. But the only amount that the Islamic bank can declare as an income, only that 1% portion. If let's say they said 3% charging of the because of late payment, all right. So meaning the 1% only can claim as income, but the other 2% has to be channeled to charity. Okay, because more 3% is considered gharama, the 2%. Only 1% is considered ta'wid. Okay? Pernah dengar tak? Have you heard of ta'wid before? Class?
No. No, doctor.
Tak pernah belajar dalam fiqh muamalat? You never learn about the supporting contracts and all? What is ta'wid? What is gharama? Tak pernah belajar ke? Siapa pernah dengar? Have you heard of it? for this? Somewhere? Tak ada, tak pernah dengar. Okay, never mind. So I assume that you first time hear about the term ta'wid or gharama. Ta'wid means compensation. Compensation to the bank when it comes to late payment of the customer. Customer, let's say every single bank, they have different ways of managing the payment, the installment payment by the customer every month. Okay, within some bank, they say customer will pay within that 14 days from the due date. As long as within the 14 days from the due date, they are still not charging any ta'wid. After that, they might charge ta'wid. But ta'wid is only 1%. And this ta'wid is the one that the percentage where the Islamic bank can claim as their income. But if the bank charge more than 1%, meaning 2% or 3% or 4 or 5%, if let's say 5%, the 4% will be go to charity because it's already considered gharama. It's a penalty. Okay, it's a penalty. It's not ta'wid already. Okay, it depends on the banks. Okay, so now people, you see the sample cases, Sharia non-compliance happens because poor dissemination of Sharia resolution covering relevant function within IFI. Maybe people, what the information, what the process is not being communicated thoroughly and properly. Okay, they did go across the banks, the Islamic banks. After product briefing, branch manager delayed to brief his branch people of Sharia requirements for new product. Okay. In 1 year, or maybe in sometimes in 6 months, or maybe in 1 year once in a year, the bank, the Islamic bank might come out with a new product. Okay, when they come out with new products, each branches or each branch manager, they need to brief their staff on the existence of the new product. So each product, they requires different flows and different understanding and different parties involved. So all these differences need to be communicated to all the employees so that the employee will not give wrong explanation to the customer. Delay in doing that by the branch manager, it could cause Sharia non-compliance. Okay, takut the employees of the bank or the officers at the branches, they convey a wrong information, okay, about the new product. All right, when we come to system, okay, next one, system, sample of cases here, system enhancement which cause disability of ARCAD screen. Okay, wrong input for system involving Sharia requirements of ta'wid. You see, so everything is already designed in the system. Okay, it's in the system. You bayar ta'wid ke, you tak bayar ke, you bayar installment, everything can be, automatically computerized. Benda tu semuanya dalam sistem. So, kalau berlaku the system down ke, system being hacked ke, whatever, that could cause disruption. Okay, disruption. And kalau benda tu lambat atau customer atau employees key in wrong information into the system, it could cause Sharia non-compliant as well. Okay, another one is external event. Remember, external event is all about something beyond the control of the bank, especially when it comes to climate changes, the political issues, the war, okay, regulation, changes of regulation, okay, and then outsourcing, okay, so disease outbreak like COVID, semua tu adalah external event that could disrupt the operations of the bank. Okay. Now, Bank Negara Malaysia, okay, we require that all Islamic bank must have, okay, robust Sharia compliant function. Maknanya kena function yang sangat efficient and it covers comprehensive covering the whole operations of the bank. Okay, ni requirement dia. Memang it has been spelled out by Bank Negara. Okay, Another part in this one, what I show you is the framework governance, Sharia governance requirement that has been outlined by Bank Negara Malaysia. So it's clearly stated that under this para 7, okay, under para 7 says that Sharia risk management must be systematically identified, measure, monitor, and control of Sharia non-compliant risk to mitigate any possible of non-compliant events. Okay, and then the control function shall form as part of the bank's integrated risk management framework. Due to technicality and complexity in managing the risk of non-compliance to the Sharia, the function shall be performed by risk officers that have suitable qualifications and or experience in subject matter. So it's very important that the employees that handle the transaction in Islamic bank, okay, or Islamic financial institution, they must have sufficient knowledge, okay, expertise, and enough training they've went through enough training throughout the years so that there won't be any mistakes when they do the transaction. Okay. All right. Sharia risk management framework, functions involve one, it should facilitate the process of identifying, measuring, controlling, and monitoring. Whatever Sharia non-compliance has to be identified clearly, and how they should clearly know how to measure it, okay, and how to monitor and make sure that in the future you can control. If it's happened today, so we have learned from what happened, and the bank must be prepared that in the future they will not, that kind of losses or Sharia non-compliant event occurs. Repeatedly occurs again. It has to be controlled. Okay, formulating and recommending appropriate Sharia non-compliant risk management policies and guidelines. And then risk awareness, developing and implementing processes for Sharia non-compliant risk awareness in the bank. So meaning for risk management functions, they involve all this process. It has to be conveyed. The culture of managing risk, especially when it comes to Sharia non-compliant, it has to be communicated throughout the bank. So you tak boleh ada one layers of employees pun tertinggal. Remember we did learn about it last month, where to make sure Sharia compliant is the role for every employee. Each employees are responsible in ensuring that the whole operations in the bank is Sharia compliant. Okay, so it's the responsibilities of everyone, right? So remember, we also have learned about how to identify the risk, assessment, risk control, and reporting. Semua tu sama je. All risk, all types of risk, to handle it, they involve same process. Okay, so what are the tools used in Sharia non-compliant risk management? This one not only focusing on Sharia non-compliant, it's also the same thing when it comes to operational risk. Remember, Sharia non-compliant risk ni adalah anak kepada operational risk. Okay, the child of operational risk. So the management of it also is similar to how you manage operational risk. Okay, so the tools used also the same: risk control self-assessment, RCSA, risk loss event management and reporting, key risk indicator, process risk mapping, new product and service approval process. These are the tools being used to manage, okay, Sharia non-compliant. So how do we detect that certain activities is actually Sharia non-compliance, or certain issues that arise is actually related to Sharia non-compliance? Okay, so throughout the process, the operations of bank, we involve various processes. Okay, among all is, let's say every day there would be day-to-day maker and checker functions at every department functional area of the Islamic bank. Okay, because benda tu kena ada check and balance for Islamic banking. Kena check betul-betul, tak boleh ada yang terlepas, cannot ada yang non-compliant yang could lead to syariah non-compliance. Okay, customer complaints and legal cases. Of course, every day they might have customer complaint. Customer ni is a king. Dia complain, dia suka complain. Customer. Because we are also customers kan. Tak boleh lama sikit tunggu. Start lah nak isi complaint box. Or ada macam-macam lah lagi kan. The complaint, that complaint, it has to be addressed as soon as possible. Otherwise, it might lead to syariah non-compliance. Okay. Sharia advisory activities in the IFI's day-to-day operation. Sharia review performed by Sharia review function of the IFI. And Sharia audit performed by the Sharia audit unit under internal audit divisions. So kita ada involve so many layers of operations and involve so many types of employees that handle certain transactions. So with this, we often will come across a lot of mistakes, a lot of maybe you forgot certain process, certain steps. Inilah guna dia all this process supaya kita boleh detect something, ada benda yang something wrong. Okay, so we can prevent it and happen again. Okay. Okay. What are the tools and instruments used to identify syariah non-compliant risk? Ini tools, instrument yang tadi previously kita kata apa? How to detect. How to detect tu tengok kepada proses. Yang tadi previous lagi satu tu, tools used in syariah non-compliant risk management. Yang tadi, this one is tools how to manage. Okay. Yang the next slide ni tadi ni, tools and instrument used to identify. Macam mana nak kenal, nak terjumpa or to come across the thing ataupun things yang which are not syariah compliant. Okay, often it can be due to accounting and audit using tools such as financial data, balance sheet, auditing processes. Okay, kita akan ternampak or come across mungkin ada benda-benda yang tersilap ke daripada balance sheet ataupun daripada financial statements. Okay, legal instrument, legal approach used to examine structure of the contract. Okay, and then and product and ensure the Sharia compliance in the terms and conditions implemented in particular contract. Islamic ruling of fatwa pertaining to particular case in order to validate or invalidate the contract through investigation of the whole process of the application with the observation of the various issues related to the banking documents. See, so these are the tools, okay? These are the tools and instrument used to identify. Macam mana kita nak identify syariah non-compliant risk. So kita perlu ada benda-benda to make sure that syariah non-compliant risk tu tak berlaku. Okay? Tak berlaku. Kalau tak ada absence of all this, high possibility that syariah non-compliant event will exist. Okay, last one is the Sharia review, which means that examination of the extent of the bank's compliance in all its activities with the Sharia. Examination includes contracts, agreements, policies, products, transaction, financial statements and also the reports. Dengan Sharia review ni pun boleh detect if any something went wrong. Because kita ada all this function is important. But remember, it's the bank need to have very serious framework for managing Sharia non-compliant risk because the penalty is very high, very severe sebenarnya. Penalty dia about 25, it can be up to 25 million of penalty and 8 years imprisonment. Okay, boleh di penjara. Okay, so this one we are talking about major elements of Sharia non-compliant risk. What are the major elements? I think all this pun you already came across in fiqh muamalat ke ada tak belajar ni dalam fiqh muamalat? Kelas? Pernah jumpa tak ni? Pernah belajar tak? Hello?
Rasa macam tak ada. Seingat saya tak ada.
Apa ni, Baduri ya? saya kan rasa saya nak buat kelas face to face lah.
Setuju.
Ha?
Setuju untuk kelas face to face.
Ya. Cuma buat ni ya. Kita memang tak ada ruang ya. Memang tak ada ruang ke? Tak boleh cari ruang.
Kalau siang tak ada, kalau malam kadang-kadang ada juga kelas yang tak guna dewan. Kalau weekend ada.
Tak,
Itulah
kalau
bikin
siang
kacau.
memang siang memang penuh ke?
Siang dah penuh.
Ya.
Mm-mm.
Aduh. I rasa
Cuma
kan.
Rabu petang pun orang ada kelas juga.
Kan. Sebabnya bila kita buat online macam ni kan, saya ngantuk.
Saya pun loading lama.
Tahu tak apa? I bet that most of you mesti dah tersengguk-sengguk ni ngantuk.
Betul.
Kan? Tapi itulah kita ni sangat tak bernasib baik semester ni kita kelas kita Monday kan?
Betul.
Bila Monday ni pula banyaklah fikirlah pula tahun ni. Ya Allah. Itu dia. Tak apalah. Kita cuba je lah. Because I will not be around. Nanti saya kena tengok kalender ni. Sebab kita nak kena habiskan kelas cepat sebenarnya. Sebabnya I will not be around in the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks time. Maksudnya masa minggu ke-14 tu, the last week tu saya tak ada. So saya nak kena bawa ke depan. Kita kalau boleh habiskan kita punya kelas ni by next week. So we can start with presentation. Boleh tak rasanya?
Jadi maksudnya untuk presentation kita akan start pada week 13.
Kalau boleh nak start minggu depan presentation. Boleh tak? Siapa yang dah start? Siapa yang dah hantar awal lah. Sebab kita nak hantar pun minggu depan kan? Betul tak? Assignment nak hantar by Friday kan? Tapi saya dah open start from Monday next week. So siapa yang dah siap awal boleh terus present.
Tapi kalau tak ada?
Kalau tak ada,
kita sambung kelas.
Kita kena buat yang week 13 tu lah. Maksudnya maybe kita buat 2 kelas dalam 1 minggu tu. Faham tak? Sebab 14 tu memang tak boleh buat kelas sebab I'm not around. Gitu. So jadinya tak apa, kita cuba dulu tengok macam mana. Right? Ada 2 more topics to go. Kita try tengok macam mana, maybe kalau kelas tu kita buat mungkin 1 jam kita try cover and then after tu, lepas tu terus buat presentation. Macam tu lah, kita tengoklah dulu macam mana ya.
Okay.
Kalau let's say tak ada siapa yang nak menghantar awal, tak ada siapa yang tak ada group yang boleh buat presentation next week, nak juga buat presentation on week 13, kita kena buat 2 kelas lah maksudnya. Faham tak? 2 kali kelas.
Kalau 2 kelas maksudnya Isnin, Monday dan juga tersedia macam ni lah
Ya. Kena buat 2 lah sebabnya nak cover yang minggu 14 tu kan. Minggu 14 tu saya tak ada. Saya berada di luar kawasan waktu tu. Okay. So tak apa, never mind. So kita just tengok dulu ni major elements of Syariah non-compliant risk ni. So I'm sure benda ni dah biasa dengar sebenarnya. Betul tak you all? Kita tak pernah dengar.
Betul, Doktor.
Macam kita dah pernah dengar, dah biasa dah benda-benda ni kan. Ghara ni biasalah kan. Risk in the sense of lack of, saya ni tak boleh nampak lah benda ni. Okay, kita ada ghara, kita dah faham dah kan. What is the meaning of ghara? Ni memang dah selalu sebut. Wara ni kan. Betul tak? And then ada deception. Deception ni maksudnya apa? What is deception? Induce a contracting party to think that it is in his interest to check the subject matter, whereas in fact it is not so. Itu maksud dia. Deception ni, you are trying to trick your partners ataupun your contracting parties, nak influence dia, nak tipu, nak trick dia lah, nak tipu dia supaya dia boleh rasa macam benda tu perlu dilakukan. It must be done. Tapi you trick dia. You try to say something, ada ill intention lah supaya dia beli barang dari you, for example, kan. Okay, lagi satu, inequality. Inequality of price and subject matter of a contract of exchange, that is one of them become less or more than the other, which was not known at the time of contract. Inequality of price and subject matter. Maksudnya tak sama. Price tak sama, subject matter tak sama seperti mana yang diakadkan. And then duress. Duress mean forcing. You force someone, okay, to do something that he dislike, but in order to remove the more harmful aspect, he does not so against his consent. Ni kena paksa lah. Macam kata, okay, you have to buy this good from me, otherwise I will puncture your tires. Macam tu pula, you ugut orang, you duress, you force people kan. You put them under difficult situation so that they can buy goods from you. And then mistakes, an assumption about anything which comes into the brain of a person but proves to be inaccurate. The subject matter of the contract contradicts with what has been contracted for. Kan? Ini pun very clear. Okay, so those are the elements of Syariah non-compliance. Okay, example, mis-selling of Syariah compliant products, interest-based lending, asset traded in sale transaction, selling price is not disclosed to the customers, proper sequence of the transaction is not observed. Okay, siapa sini pernah main MIG, Muamalah Interactive Game? Ha? Siapa tu? Mi, siapa? What's your name? Ain? Syazani. You from KMD or KMA? Ain Ain Syazani. Okay, Ain Syazani pernah main Muamalah Interactive Game kan? Okay, if you still remember, in the property card, kita akan ada akad sequence. Bila nak berakad tu, you nampakkan player cakap apa, banker cakap apa kan. So those are the sequence of the transaction which must be observed clearly. Observe macam maksudnya you tak boleh miss out pun satu step tu. Because once you miss one step, it could lead to Syariah non-compliant. Sebab itu dalam muamalah interactive game tu kita buat betul-betul nak follow through how is actually transaction that can be full Syariah compliant and there would be no riba. Benda whatever it is, muamalah interactive game is trying to bring out the values of Islamic banking transaction where it is free from riba. Okay. Right. Okay, what are the impacts of Syariah non-compliance? Syariah non-compliance ni adalah impact dia kan. Okay, institution shall at all times ensure that its aims and operations, business affairs and activities are in compliance with Syariah. Non-compliance with Section 28, imprisonment not exceeding 8 years, fine not exceeding 25 million. Ini yang saya kata tadi tu. Dia punya punishment tu kiranya berlaku non-Syariah compliant. Okay. Bila sebut institution dekat situ, it refers to each and every single person in the bank. Okay. Every single person in the bank. Okay. Alright, so this one sama Remember in operational risk, remember I ada tunjuk this one kan? These are the system that how to report operational risk and also syariah non-compliant risk. This is the reporting tools, nak report kepada bank negara. Remember the other day I did tell you BDSF ni apa kan? BDSF ni is actually business disruption system failure. Maksudnya whatever it is reporting, being reported in this system is all under operational risk punya definition and syariah non-compliant risk. It's all involve the internal process, the system, the people, the external events. Sebab itu BDSF tu, business disruption and system failure tu is termasuk di bawah operational risk. Okay? Okay. So untuk topik ni habis dah. So now kita nak continue with liquidity risk. Okay.